All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Rumble Spoon Productions YouTube live page. We are the Real Short Box. My name is Donald. The gentleman to my right is Darren. Just below me is Kevin. And we have our special guest, Mr. Christopher D. Turner. Thank you for joining us again, Chris. Always a pleasure to have you on. So thank you. Appreciate it. Today we're going to be talking about something very special. We're going to be talking about giant monsters. I'm super excited about it, guys. We're talking about Kaiju. Any type of giant monster, robotic, humanoid, it doesn't matter. Just a giant monster. It's going to be super fun. I'm totally stoked to get into this. But before we do, I'm going to do a few things in the background. These gentlemen, if you don't mind, discuss a few of your choices that did not make it to your top 10 list. We're doing top 10 Kaiju monsters. So a couple of them that didn't quite make it on your top 10. Now, it can be on somebody else's still. That's fine. But just something that didn't make it on your list and why.
Well, I think about the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Might be on one of your guys' lists, but that's a pretty cool, monster from back in the day from Ghostbusters.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go with a couple. The first one I'm going to go with is the very popular Mothra. Unquestionably, one of the more popular in the Godzilla Toho universe, for sure. Just wasn't quite good enough to crack my list. Mothra just doesn't do it for me, I guess, that way. But I can't deny the popularity. And also, too, I'm going to throw in the often forgotten Peter Hyams' The Relic from 1997. I think The Relic is a very cool monster. A lot of things that it does. It's like a natural evolving beast. And, barely missed this list, though.
It's a cool poster, by the way. I remember back in the day. That was a pretty cool poster at the movie theater.
Yeah, I got a couple also. I got, really not making my list is the Megazord from Power Rangers. But also, a big surprise, I don't know, probably on everybody else's list, is Godzilla. Barely made it, didn't make it on my list. So, no Godzilla on my list, but almost there.
Can we mute his microphone for the evening?
Yeah, that was great, but I liked these other ones more.
Chris, I think you just committed sacrilege, sir.
Yeah, you can be in real trouble, buddy. Real trouble.
I don't know if you'll be invited next week for a back-to-back-to-back.
Yeah.
No ill feelings to Godzilla. He's a champion, but there's only room for one in the battle, and I chose the other one.
Gojira.
I'm going to tell you right now, Chris, man. Now your list is going to be under extraordinary scrutiny.
Bring it on, Darren.
I'm going to. Scrutiny.
How did you not have Gojira on your list?
Right?
If you got like Bebop and Rocksteady on there, you done, bro.
Those count as Kaiju?
You know what?
Yeah.
Actually, Krang is on my Kaiju list because of the robotic suit.
Yeah.
But only when he inflates, of course. But he didn't quite make my top 10. But he is on my honorable mention. I must also mention that the Balrog from Lord of the Rings is on my list.
Wow.
Also the octopus creature from Deep Rising. They never really give it a name. The creature from the movie Colossal. A lot of people actually really love that movie, and it's surprising because it didn't really get much recognition, but it's a great film. If you guys haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Very good. Ultraman also made my list. Iron Giant. Sandworms from Beetlejuice. Galactus from, of course, Marvel Comics is Galactus. Also did not make my list was the Sentinels. I don't believe made my list either. Honorable mention to them from X-Men. And one more that's near and dear to my heart is Gorbash and Smorgle, who were both in the movie, the animated film Flight of Dragons. For those that don't know it, very special to me.
I forgot to mention Fing Fang Foom.
Yeah, you absolutely could. I didn't put him on my list because I don't even know if I have a comic book with him in it, to be honest. I love the idea.
How about the worms from the movie Dune?
Yeah, that's another one. That's a good one. didn't make the list because, honestly, I was pretty young when Dune came out, so I'm waiting for the reintroduction to the Dune world here soon, hopefully, and then we'll see whether I like it. Gentlemen, by the way, I have posted on my page, so please feel free
Already on it.
to share to the Palookas and all that and all your friends.
All right.
Excellent.
Okay, so we've got some people popping in. Let's pull it up here. Let's see. Sean's in. He says, "What's up, fellows? Thanks for joining us, Sean." Mish says, "Godzilla, King Kong, and 50-foot woman." Or women. I guess that's in his order of how he wants to date. Godzilla, King Kong, and 50-foot woman. My mom says hi. Everybody say hi to my mom.
Hi, Mom. Miss McKinney.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Misha's Kraken and Cthulhu and Gorbash. Yes, Misha, definitely Gorbash. Sean says, Flight of Dragons is my childhood. Sean, bravo, sir. You are an elite group of people that knows Flight of Dragons. I'm going to be honest. A very elite group of people. Who here out of the four of us knew about Flight of Dragons?
I've heard of it.
I've seen it, and I remember watching it, but I can't tell you what it's about.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it. 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 I love it.
Everyone tells me I wanted to put something on the list, but I couldn't remember. Does Attack of the Killer Tomatoes have a giant tomato?
Yeah, there's a giant tomato in Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
I couldn't remember. I was like, I want to put this, but I can't remember if it has it or not, but it was just in the cartoon.
Sean, just so you know, Amish and I love it so much, the movie Flight of Dragons, that I found the book. I bought him the DVD once I found out they released it, and then I went out and I bought the book companion to it. That actually is what the movie's based off of. So I have that. If you ever want to come over sometime, and view it post-COVID or whatever, this times we live in. But yeah, if you ever want to come over and view it, I'd be happy to show you, sir.
Kevin, is your background, is that Dragonheart?
No, it's actually Drogon from Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
By the way, I do apologize to everybody that was looking for the link. We had some technical difficulties with the programming that allows us to operate this such a beautiful podcast that we're able to do. For some reason, it just wasn't working fast at all. It wasn't working very well anyway. So we're doing what we can. If there's any interruptions or anything, we'll be back and we'll repost about it and relink and stuff. But so far, so good. So we're happy that we're on, and we're happy that we're able to see everybody in the chats and stuff, and we're happy to discuss our kaijus. Guys in the chat, guys and gals, does anybody in there have a one that we didn't mention that wouldn't have made their top 10 that would have been an honorable mention for them as well? I know Amish gave us a bunch, but I think those were on his top 10. Honorable mentions from anyone would be great.
So the thing that's interesting here is we are, as I pretty much know all of your lists except for Chris's, we don't really stick necessarily strictly to the Toho definition of kaiju, the Japanese monsters too specifically. I noticed we kind of branch out a little bit. It's interesting because we all kind of have different definitions of kaiju here, and I can tell you that my list is definitely very Toho inspired. And I know your guys' list is inspired through multitudes of different things. So when you were generating your list, Chris, specifically, what exactly inspired you to put your list together the way that you did?
I thought about the things that are big and the things that I enjoy watching that are big, and bring a smile to my face. And the ones that bring the biggest smile to my face are the ones that were on my list.
Kevin, was there anything any theming you found to be kind of interesting in your kaiju selections?
Not really. I think my list is a little eclectic. There are some, Japanese-based monsters or some American or Western-based monsters or big creatures.
All right.
Yes, Kevin. The reasoning for my list is same with Chris, really. I just looked at what brings me joy. What brings a big smile to my face when I see it on the screen. And that's it. But real quick, I also want to mention. Oh, Enrique popped in. He says, "Is giant Starro considered a kaiju?" Yes, Enrique. Starro, the giant Starro, is definitely considered a kaiju. Definitely, he's a giant monster. Totally qualifies. In fact, there's a lot of levels.
The villain of the new Suicide Squad?
Yeah, I think it's what he's talking about. Yeah, definitely. But if nobody's seen that trailer yet, wait till after this podcast and then go watch it. And then next week, when we're live again, come join us and we'll talk about it real quick because I love that trailer. I had tears of joy. Yeah. I'm so happy. When the original was announced, I told everybody, I said Guardians of the Galaxy, what they did with Marvel, what they did to that is what they're going to do. That DC Suicide Squad is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, basically. It was going to be the dark horse that kind of brings all the love and everybody's going to have a good time with it. It came out. I was super disappointed. I'll be honest. Jai Courtney, I believe is his name, who played Captain Boomerang, was like one of the big saving graces for me. I loved him as that character. I thought he did an amazing job. Harley Quinn was great. Loved her too. And there's a few others that I enjoyed somewhat, you know, but for the most part, those were my boys. Those are my two, you know, that I liked a lot. And just to see the guy then that did Guardians of the Galaxy take over and now do the Suicide Squad, it was like a dream come true for me. So I'm so excited. And by the way, for those that don't know, James Gunn and I are apparently personally good friends because he tweeted a picture of me last year. I don't know if those that don't know, I created a web series called The Blue Beetle Ted Cord Returns. It's on Rumble Spoon Productions. You can check it out at any time on the page.
Where's that blowhorn?
Yeah. Yeah, I need that for tooting my own horn. Here, give me a second. I'll come up with it. There we go. There we go. All right, so I created this web series, The Blue Beetle Ted Cord Returns. And he grabbed that picture and was talking about Smallville's Blue Beetle, and then he posted my picture instead. So I'm kind of a big deal, guys. I don't know if you know that, but so we're on first name basis now. Me and James Gunn. Jimmy, I call him.
If you're aware, after its success, apparently they've just announced a Suicide Squad Snyder Cut.
Really?
They've talked about it, actually. They talked about the David Ayers one. And doing a David Ayers cut for the Suicide Squad. Because Warner Brothers has a problem of the, not a huge problem, but a problem of the executives and stuff and people interfering more with the production itself and trying to control the narrative for the story. And if you approve a script, I feel like you should stick to that script. You know, if it looked good on paper, you know, you should try to stick to it no matter... For the most part. Now, granted, there can be some tweaks and things that happen, but you'll want to try to stick as close to it as you could possibly do, or else you're gonna depress the director. In other words, the creative brains behind it. So it shut down the pod. But we're back, guys. I'm so sorry. If you're not there, it looks like everybody stayed. So we apologize about the delay if there was some freezing or something, but. I got it fixed, I think. Anybody in the chats, can you tell me if it sounds okay, if we're okay?
Donald, I told you to be careful what you say about Warner Media. They paused you.
I know, right? They took control and they were like, stop this guy.
I love my employer.
Okay, Sean, thank you. Thank you very much. Enrique says, amen on executive interference on DC movies. My mom says, you're on a loop. Yes, I know we were having problems, Mom. I'm sorry. Adam says, hey, Adam, thanks for joining us. He says, the monster from the Korean film The Host. That's a good one. That's actually a picture I posted on my social media to advertise was that creature from The Host because I love that film. It's super fun. Super fun. Good. I thought my internet was poopy. Better now. Yeah, sorry, Maria. It wasn't your internet. It was probably my connection here. Sometimes stuff. It's been kind of junky all day, to be honest, in this area. So that's probably part of the reason. And I think the other problem is we've been having some program issues with the integration. That's how we run this platform. So hopefully you guys stick with us. I apologize. And we'll get started here. Let's get started now, actually, if you guys don't mind, so we can get moving on this. top 10
Sure.
kaiju. Is everybody okay to get started?
Yes, sir.
Of course.
You're right, Sean. Godzilla's atomic breath can mess with internet signals and has many times. It's true. It's very true. Okay, Chris, why don't we get your number 10 out of your top 10, and we'll go clockwise. We'll go Chris, Kevin, me, and then Darren. Okay. All right. Chris, I'm gonna pull you out real quick here. Give me 1 second here. Let's see here. And boom. There we go. Okay. And now just moving stuff around here. Okay, anybody out? Are you guys there? Okay, I can't see any of you guys. So, now my name is Chris. Kevin, your name is Darren. Darren, your name is Donald. And Chris, your name is Kevin. So everything got switched around. Okay. Well, I'm the only one that's live. Everybody else is frozen. So, guys, one by one, Darren, can you leave the chat, the Skype, and I'll pull you back in. I'll invite you back in, okay? Okay, thank you. Okay, Kevin, let's see. So I'm going to invite Darren back in. No, not yet. Not yet. We're going to do one at a time. I'm going to invite Darren in. It is the Donald Show, Maria. Yay! More Donald all the time. Burp, 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 burp. All right. Darren, do we see Darren? Let's see. I'm going to bring Darren in. Yes, Darren is back. So one by one. Here we go. Today's been a nightmare. I'm loving it. Great. Okay, Kevin, you're next. Go ahead and go out. I'll pull you back in. All right. So Kevin's gone. All right. Yes. Sorry about the trouble, guys. Maria, I'll tell you a cool kaiju story. Once upon a time, there was a giant monster named My Pet Monster, and I had to own it. It was actually not a giant monster so much as it was just like a child-sized monster, but big, you know, big stuffed toy. And I had to own it, and I don't think my parents ever got it for me, so I was very sad, and that's the end of the story. I know, it's terrible. Okay, so Kevin, let's see if you're back. Yes, Kevin is back. All right, so Chris, last one on the list. Let's bring you back in. Okay, go ahead and bail out on us, Chris. Okay, I'm going to bring Chris back in. Let's see. And Chris has been added back. Adam, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Okay.
Should we have Chris start his list over again?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Am I good?
I think so. Yeah. I see you. I see you. I'm gonna close down Skype sort of and bring you back in. So everybody move around so I know you're still here.
All right.
Chris, are you moving?
It kicked me.
Okay. I see you again, so you're fine. I'm gonna just change name tags real quick. Chris is there. Kevin's here. That's not Kevin, that's me. Boy, I'm drunk. And then we've got Darren. Okay, so Chris, go ahead with your number 10 out of your top 10 kaiju.
Yes, my number 10 is from Pacific Rim. It's the monster Slattern. It's the big one with the multiple tails and the lightning strikes damage. I like it because it's kind of a badass monster. I love the movie Pacific Rim. And I like that, another name for or another definition for slattern is untidy or unclean woman. I thought it was kind of funny. So so that's my number 10, Pacific Rim, the big badass monster, slattern.
Now, Chris, did you know that there was a porn version of that? They called it Pacific Rim Job.
I did
That's
it, but
disturbing.
There are children watching, sir.
They don't know what that means.
Warner Brothers especially is watching, Donald.
Be kind.
Warner Brothers is watching especially, sir.
Yeah, Warner Brothers, didn't they do the first Pacific Rim and then they quit? Or was that Universal?
No, it was Warner took the first one.
Yeah, and then Universal picked up the second, if I recall, or something.
Yeah, it was part of the Guillermo del Toro studio contract.
Okay, so now we're in reverse order. So, Darren, why don't you go next?
All right, number 10, so you know I consulted an unnamed kaiju expert about all these, and I happen to agree with most of the suggestions given. I'm going to go with Destroya. This is from the Godzilla universe. Now, what makes Destroya kind of unique is he's one of the only kaiju to take multiple shots from the atomic ray and survive. Usually one will you're just done after one big shot. And this is also one of two kaiju that has affected Godzilla emotionally, using Godzilla Jr.'s death to his advantage to manipulate Godzilla Sr. I think Destroya is a really cool how he's all situated, put together. And yeah, this is definitely my number 10, no doubt.
Mom, you do not have it. You did not buy it for me. That is a different creature. That is a generic My Pet Monster. That is not My Pet Monster. You cannot get one over on me. I'm an adult. I'm too smart for that. I remember that little guy. It was a purple monster that my mom got me, and he was in handcuffs. And he'd be like, "Oh, come on, let me out. I'll behave." And then as soon as you get him out of the handcuffs, he's like, "Yeah, let's party." He was like, totally different from My Pet Monster, but really cool nonetheless, Mom. Really cool nonetheless. I'm not going to complain. It was very cool. All right. So, Kevin, what's yours?
My number 10 is the interesting big funky turtle, Gamera.
Not to be confused with Matt.
Yeah, not our friend Matt.
No.
But it's a very interesting creature. It's almost like the ancient ancestor of Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo, but just a gigantic version of them.
Yeah.
But this guy has jets, and it's kind of cool. And of course, turtles have obviously a shell, so that's hard to penetrate. So obviously, it can deflect missiles and other projectiles. So it's a fun creature to look at and fly around. And obviously, you don't want in real life to encounter it, but I like Gamera. It's a very cool looking giant turtle thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of love for Gamera. Very cool, or Gamera, as some people call him.
Gamera.
A very cool fighting turtle creature, dude. Love him. Love him, love him, love him. Again, big fan. So, yeah, good choice, Kevin. My number 10 is pretty easy. And Maria, you better appreciate this. My number 10 is Mothra.
Ooh.
Giant moth that fights Godzilla and then befriends Godzilla and then helps Godzilla and then fights off other monsters. Mothra is a very popular creature of peace and compassion and rebirth. So, very popular in Japan specifically for those ideals. Very much a kind of a Buddhist idea in a lot of ways. So, very cool kaiju, a giant moth, very different from a lot of the other ones that they brought, giant lizards and things like that. So Mothra was a breath of fresh air in the time that creature was developed and released. So love Mothra. Can't go wrong with Mothra. Mothra is the coolest at number 10. And yes, Mom, not if they get in your house. My parents had a moth infestation here last year and the year before. It was pretty bad. So if Mothra was there, maybe Mothra could have called all of the moths away, but that did not happen, unfortunately. And yeah, so That did not. Sorry, guys. Ray Ray says hey. So hey, Ray Ray, nice of you to join us. Thank you for joining
What's
us.
up, Ray?
Maria says yes. Mothra should be up higher, but I'm glad she's there. Well, Maria, not all of our lists are done yet. There might be Mothra up higher on somebody else's. You don't know. So let's go with number 9, Chris. Number 9 on your list of our top 10 kaiju.
All right, number 9 is we're gonna go Japanese, old school Japanese, and it's actually a good guy. It's a Daimajin, the giant stone samurai. Love samurai, and
Okay.
you go on with a giant samurai that just goes around like taking revenge on evil emperors in Japan.
That's pretty cool. What was this on? Because I don't know this guy.
The movie's called Daimajin.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The trilogy of movies, they were all shot at the same time and then released. They were from 60. They were all released in every like 6 months or 3 months in 1966. It was April 66, August 66, and then December 66.
Okay.
It was Daimajin, Return of Daimajin, and then Daimajin Strikes Again.
Chris, let me ask you, if he pees, is it cement? And if he poops, are they bricks?
Oh, they don't show that in the movie, so...
They should.
Okay,
They should. They dropped the ball. They should show that. Shame on them. But we'll move on. Fine. Darren, you're number 9.
Sorry, I didn't tend to an emergency there. Okay, so I'm also going to go from the Godzilla Toho universe here. Number 9 is Kamanga. Kamanga is basically a giant spider, has the ability to not only spit a web, but can deploy venom from his mouth. And in the, let's see, it is absolutely based 100% on a jumping spider and can also shoot actual spider web nets, like pre-made. Definitely a very, very cool kaiju.
Nice.
And, of course, as are most in the Godzilla universe.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool one. That reminds me, spiders are very popular. They had the spiders in Harry Potter, and then they had the spider in Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And then they had the spider in Arachnophobia, and then they had, what was that one with Deputy Dewey?
Eight-legged freaks.
Yeah, Eight-Legged Freaks, that's the one. Yeah, that one was ridiculous, but that was a lot of fun, too. And then a lot of the 50s movies, because atomic energy was being created, an atomic bomb and stuff like that had been developed. So radiation was big on everybody's minds, and it was very prevalent at the time in film. You get things like them, which is giant irradiated spiders, or ants, and then you would get stuff like this, which is giant irradiated spiders and stuff. So you get a lot of insects and stuff. Centipedes and all that kind of stuff, in King Kong and stuff like that. So it was always cool how, in the U.S. it was developed here for different things, but in Japan it was always, they tied it to great tragedy and then great triumph. So it was an interesting thing how they did that. So that's a good choice, Darren. Kevin.
My number 9 is this bizarre-looking creature called Megalon.
Megalon.
A bipedal, burrowing insect, beetle-type weird-looking thing. He is basically the god of the subterranean nation of Seatopia, and he's worshipped proudly.
Interesting.
And it's kind of a cool little creature, a cool big creature. Possesses like these 2 drill-like front appendages. And, uses it for burrowing. He uses them as weapons. Has a set of wings. He has like a beetle-like shell to protect his backside. So it's an interesting little thing. I think it's fought Godzilla, one of those battles that Godzilla has encountered, another arch rival in the kaiju world.
Right. It's a good choice. I like the costume design of this one. It's very flowing. I can tell that the guy inside did not probably get as overheated as he would have in a full rubber suit, because it looks like on the side there's some room for some fabric, which creates a breathability that you would not have in most of the other suits.
Donald, how tall do you suspect this person was?
15 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Really quick, let's see, we've got some comments here. Sean says, at the end of your top 10s, is there going to be a Kaiju Marry Screw Kill?
That's funny.
No, I don't know, Sean. Maybe, it's possible. Tee. Ray Ray says, Falcor the dragon from the Neverending Story. That's a good one, Ray Ray. You'll see. Sean says also Shelob. I don't know what that is. What is Shelob? Is that a creature?
I assume.
Good God. Enrique says the spider in Wild Wild West. Enrique, oh my God. We need to talk about that because we already, I think, mentioned it last week, right?
Last week we did. It was supposed to be in Superman Lives. In the undeveloped Superman film, they wanted to put a spider, and that same producer couldn't get the spider in the Superman film, so he had him put it in the Wild Wild West. Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Which, by the way, did you watch it yet, Donald? The Blu-ray that I lent you?
No, I said I'd watch it, but that was last week, and I lied. So I'll try to watch it.
By the way, for the record, that was an amazing creation of special effects, that spider in Wild Wild West. Just for the record, I'm going to go on and say that.
Is it a Warner Brothers film, Darren?
Yes, it is.
Not. Is it? Oh.
It is.
Huh. Well.
Look! Stay employed, folks.
All right. Adam says Charlotte's Web. Yes, Adam. Definitely Charlotte from Charlotte's Web. Shelob is the spider in Lord. Oh, is it? Shelob. Okay, gotcha.
It's an amazing spider.
Mog is also a kaiju. You're right. Treebeard could be a kaiju, Maria. Yes, I think so. I could, I would say, what, a medium kaiju or a small kaiju? Probably a medium kaiju. Maybe a small. I don't know. That'd be tough depending on the tree size, I guess. So there's a lot of trees, but Treebeard himself, probably a medium-sized kaiju, I would say. I'm gonna go with my number 9. Ray, you're gonna love this, buddy. Be prepared for this. Are you ready? Are you ready? You let me know when you're ready. You let me know when you're ready, and I'm going to do it. Okay, he's ready. I'm going to do it. Boom, baby! Falcor! Yes! From the Neverending Story. That is number 9 on my list of kaiju.
The giant dog?
Always had the dream that someday I'm in class. It was probably gym class, because I did not like gym. I just thought gym class was stupid. If I'm going to, exercise, I want to do it with people I like, not in a particular class filled with idiots that I didn't like, which was always the freaking case. I never got in a class in gym with my friends. I always got put in a class with a bunch of a-holes that were dumb and did really stupid things. And then they were like, I broke my ankle. And I was like, I'm not doing that. No, you're an idiot. So that was my experience. So I always wanted Falcor to come and fly in and swoop down and be like, hello, Donald. Hop on, and I'd hop on, and then we would go on an adventure that wasn't gym class. Anything else, really. I mean, that would be cool. So Falcor is number 9 on my list, guys. Really quick, one more story about Falcor, and I hope you guys love this. Do you remember the old? We have a dog that escaped somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but if I find it, I'll tell him to be quiet. But anyway, Falcor, you remember the rideshare app that was Sidecar?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Sidecar allowed people to have 2 car doors instead of 4. All the others was 4 or more, when they picked you up. Well, with Sidecar, you could have 2 doors, and, they could put the seat forward and you get in the back and stuff. Well, me and a buddy of mine, our friend of the podcast, Matt Hilton, we were ordering a ride, and we were in Hollywood, and we needed to get to North Hollywood. So we ordered a ride, and the guy's name that was picking us up was Falcor. And I thought that was odd, and I told my buddy, I was like, Falcor is picking us up. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I hope it's a dog. It wasn't. What it was a European dude that picked us up, and when he drove in, it was a white car, 2 doors, and he wound down the window, and he was blasting Never-Ending Story, the song. And he looks out the window that he'd wound, and he's like, "Hi guys, are you here for Falcor?" And I was like, "Why, yes we are." And he's like, "Okay, get in." So we hop in, right? He's got the amulet from the book. He's got the amulet on his rearview mirror. He's blasting Never-Ending Story, and we're driving down the road, and he's like, do you guys like the never-ending story? And I was like it? And I looked at my buddy, and he looked at me, and we were like, we love it! And he's like, yay! And then he turns it up, and then the whole ride on loop is turn around. Da-da-da-da-dee. I'm not kidding. The never-ending story on loop all the way back to my place. Most amazing rideshare ride I've ever been on.
How many years ago was this?
It had to be like at least 6 or 7 years. But it was great. It was great. Anyway, okay, number 8 on the list. Sorry, that took a while. Chris, your turn.
Number 8 on the list has shared the screen with quite a few amazing actors. He shared with Jack Black, with John C. Reilly, John Goodman. He's shared an actor with Godzilla in Kyle Chandler, and he likes blondes. In my opinion, the real king of the monsters, King Kong.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Let me bring him up. Let me bring up a sexy picture of him. There we go. He's sexy and he knows it. Yeah, look, he's dancing. Let me get some music for him here. Hang on. Do I have any music for him? No. Let's just give him an applause. Sexy King Kong. Applause, everybody. Applause. Now, I like King Kong. What's like the best element of him? I know you say he likes blondes, and he's been with a bunch of different actors and stuff, but like, what do you think defines King Kong and sets him apart from some of the other kaiju giant monsters?
Well, I think part of the thing is that he is somewhat conscious about not injuring a lot of people, not destroying whole cities. By trying to, like, if you look at Kong Skull Island, he was saving people.
Yeah.
I think, like, unlike Godzilla, I think he's a true hero.
So when you watch Godzilla vs. Kong, which is coming out, by the way, this next Wednesday, when you watch that, are you going to be rooting King Kong? You team King Kong?
I am team King Kong, 100%.
All right. I can get behind that. That's solid. I can get behind that. All right. Even though I'm wearing a Godzilla shirt.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody in the movie called Martha, so I think we're fine.
Well, there's Mothra, so you never know. Anyway, Darren, you're number 8.
Jack Black gives you Kong!
Again?
I'm going to go with Kong at number 8. Now, here's the thing you have to do. This is the important thing that I want to point out, so I don't repeat Chris and what he said here. King Kong is cool as a monster. King Kong, however, has also benefited from arguably the best movies in Kaiju Land. You could talk about Fay Wray and he back in 1933. You could talk about Jeff Bridges in 1976. You could talk about King Kong Lives if you really want to go there. Peter Jackson's King Kong is phenomenal. I would strongly recommend people rewatch it. It's even better than you probably think it is. The way that they could actually make the Naomi Watts juggling scene work is ridiculous as it is, yet it's really enjoyable as you watch it. The creation of the kaiju on Skull Island was just unbelievable. Peter Jackson taking that visual of Kong running wild in New York was outstanding. Kong Skull Island, extraordinarily underrated. I saw it with Pete and Corey. He has benefited without a doubt from the best movies, but for me, Kong is kind of cool. I'm kind of like, they're not very consistent with Kong in a way that kind of bothers me. So obviously he dies in the original movie, falling off the building. But I feel in Kong Skull Island, he can take a lot more damage. So like the consistency is kind of annoying to me. And obviously if you're going to fight Godzilla, you have to be quite a powerhouse. So we'll see where that goes. But I'm definitely going to settle on Kong at 8.
Darren, tell us real quick about the ride at Universal, because when I was first out here, when I first moved out here, it was like 2007, 2008, the original Kong ride at Universal Studios burnt down. And what that was is it was part of the tram tour, and they would take you through, and it had an animatronic Kong that would kind of shake the tram, and, you know, you would all be like, oh my god, there's a giant hairy ape standing there, and it was amazing. And a little note about that, I was actually in the last group to ever see that ride. Because after our tour ended, our tram tour, the park was closed. and then it caught fire. And it like totally destroyed that ride. So I was in the last group that actually got to see that actual ride take place, which was very cool and very sad at the same time. But they replaced it then eventually. And Darren, tell us a little bit about that ride.
Well, what you're looking at there is you've got the 3D experience of Peter Jackson's King Kong. Now, on the tram tour, you're going to see all the miniatures that were used on the way there. And then once you get in, you're going to have a completely 3D immersive experience on your left and your right-hand side, where you'll actually see Kong throwing the Tyrannosaurus from one screen all the way to another screen. It's very active. It's very cool. And for those of you that are real big amusement park ride fans, there was actually a full King Kong ride in Universal Studios Florida.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, great choice, Kevin. Let's have you. Well, actually, let's catch up on a few chats if we can, Kevin, before we go to your number 8. Ray says, "Boom, yes." Sean says, "I think the Statue of Liberty Kaiju, a la Ghostbusters 2." Yeah, we could qualify that, Sean. I think. The Giant from Jack and the Beanstalk. Adam, yes, absolutely. Ray says, "Although I was sad that the never-ending story ended." That's a good point, Ray. Excellent point. Raphael says, "Wake up, Kevin." So Raphael wants you to wake up, Kevin. Raphael, by the way, I'll probably see you Wednesday, buddy. Adam says, "I would have been so pumped." Sean says, "Amazing story. I wish I had been there." Sean, yes, I would have loved to have you there as well. Adam says, "Speaking of Jack Back, Gulliver from Gulliver's Travels is a kaiju." Yes, kind of. Kong's empathy is king, says Sean. He's right. Raphael says, "Kong sucks. Godzilla is the OG monster." Well, they can both exist, Raphael, and be okay. Both can be cool. My mom says King Kong is on at the Lynn this weekend. Oh, that's so cool. The Lynn is a drive-in near my hometown, actually, guys. It's been around since forever. It's the second oldest drive-in in the world. Adam says Godzilla vs. Kong comes out tomorrow. Oh, it's tomorrow. Okay. Sorry, I thought it was next week.
Maybe tomorrow midnight-ish.
Yeah, I bet that's it.
31st.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam, for the correction. Appreciate that. Sean says that 30 to 40 minutes on the island with the T-Rex and the vines and all is some of the best movie making ever in
great.
Peter Jackson Kong, if I recall, right, Darren?
Great. It's great. Yeah, no question.
Adam says the Kong 360 game was oddly good, too. Maria says, "Did you set that fire?" No, Maria, I did not set that fire. No, even though I did want to be the last person to view it alive. So
I think they just wanted the curse of the mummy's tomb to be eliminated from the whole tour. But that's my opinion.
That mummy ride is the best ride at Universal, and I'll say that till the day I die.
Not the ride. I'm talking about the curse of the mummy's tomb when you're actually on the tram.
Oh, yeah, that could go away. And my mom says 1937. Mom, I don't know. Is that what Kevin looks like as far as his age? He was born in 1937.
Wow.
Because I would agree.
The drive-through. I think she means the drive-through.
Oh, 1937. Okay, thank you, Mom.
Wow.
Okay, Kevin, let's hear your number 8. Sorry about that.
Well, it's something you already mentioned before. The sometimes foe, but it's usually ally of Godzilla, Gojira, known as Mothra. I'll just break down some of the abilities of Mothra real quick. Mothra can launch a barrage of poisonous stingers from her thorax. She has antenna beams. She has supersonic flight, can go from Mach 1 to Mach 5. She can drop reflective scales from her wings that act as 3D mirror reflecting projectiles from her opponents. And she can do a kamikaze-style attack after being set on fire.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Kevin, I'm sorry. With the rebirth element and the compassion and the humanistic element of Mothra, they did make Mothra a female. So that was another interesting aspect of this particular kaiju, is they made this kaiju female.
But Kevin, if you could elaborate a little bit, how do you feel about like cocooned caterpillar Mothra?
Oh, I think it's awesome. If anything, it's very Phoenix-like. That's what makes her immortal.
But do you find it dangerous? Like really quite a foe when it's in that caterpillar form?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. It can be a very dangerous opponent.
It can be a very good snack, too, for somebody like Godzilla. King Kong, pick him up. Monkeys like grubs. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm going to go with my number 8. My number 8 has been talked about probably, I think, at this point, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Has it? It may not have. Godzilla?
What is?
Yeah,
No, I don't think it was really.
Okay, well, Godzilla's pretty low on my list, or high on my list, whichever you prefer to classify it as. Some of you might not appreciate that, and I totally understand. If we're just talking about actual, very specific monsters from that universe, Godzilla, he's very, very high. He'd probably be my second. And I'll explain that later, too. What I love about Godzilla, besides the Taco Bell tie-ins, is the fact that he revitalized Matthew Broderick's career. He made an excellent Jurassic Park 3 at the time, because they had yet to make Jurassic Park 3, and when they made the Godzilla film for the U.S., it just seemed like Jurassic Park 3. It didn't seem like a Godzilla film at all. What I love also is the fact that every time the U.S. makes a Godzilla film, Japanese, in Japan, they go, no. And then they make another film. So it's great for that reason alone. I love the fact that they love to compete, and they always just, like, Godzilla 2000 was pretty damn cool, guys. Like, if you remember that, it was like this replicating creature that just basically turned into a carbon copy of Godzilla so he could fight him. And that, to me, is, like, amazing. Like, that idea is just, the U.S. didn't have it. Japan was like, step aside, we've got this. So as far as I'm concerned, Godzilla in the U.S. is still far behind, the Japan Godzilla. But Godzilla is still the king of all monsters. I bow before him. And I appreciate him and put him at number 8 on my list. Again, I am sorry for it being so low on the list. Real quick, Chris says, Duque popped in. Hey, Chris. He says, hi, guys. Sorry I'm late. Just got home from the gym. Oh, look at me. I'm sorry, I just got home from the gym. Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say I'm sorry I got home from the gym. Just all sweaty. And
sorry.
Yeah.
Donald, I hate to disagree with you. That's a lie. I totally love it. Godzilla, I don't think, revived Matthew Broderick's career. In fact, I'm pretty certain that movie ruined a lot of careers. Do you remember Maria Pitillo? That was her first and basically last movie because she was so poorly received in the Godzilla film, The Blonde Lady.
Oh, yeah, and Enrique brought up the P. Diddy song, too.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
The Tune of Kashmir.
That's true. You couldn't have got that without the American Godzilla film. And they also, when it came out, they gave you this really cool kind of a slip sleeve cardboard like paper thing. And it looked like Godzilla's eye or something. And then you slipped it out and then you could put your ticket stub in there. Because it was an event, guys. This Godzilla, they had cup holders. Maria has one. I actually got it from a cereal box. It's a giant Godzilla cup holder that you would put in your car and you'd hang on the side of your car. It was the weirdest thing. But she uses it for her pens and pencils. That dog's loose again. Stop. Settle down.
I remember the teaser trailer to that Godzilla movie. It was attached to Men in Black. And it was a really cool trailer. Remember, it took place like in a museum. The lady who's giving the tour to the kids, and you start hearing this thumping sound, and all of a sudden you saw the big foot come down, and then you saw the logo come on. It was a really cool teaser trailer. It really got your attention.
Okay, Chris, number 7.
Number 7, we're going to go into space here. And we're going to go with our good old movie Galaxy Quest. And we're going to go with the Gorgnak, which is the giant rock monster. And from I don't know, I love the movie.
Yeah.
And I love when they encounter the giant rock monster. And I was just thinking of giant monsters that I really liked, and then that scene popped up in my head and it made me laugh. So I'm like, gotta go on my list.
I think Darren's a fan as well. I'm also a fan. I love it. I think it's a great film. I've always loved to have seen a sequel. In fact, I think it's well deserved. And if they still decided to do a sequel right now, I'd watch the hell out of it. I really would. No Alan Rickman, I know. I'm sorry that happened. It's very depressing, but I think they could find a way around that character. Spock died, so, in the movies, but he's also dead in real life. But, geez, this whole thing's depressing. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on. All right, Darren, you're number 7.
This is a kaiju I really love, but you got to try to be objective and fair when you're presenting them. I, of course, will be going with Rodan. Rodan, of course, is a ancient pterodactyl monster, very popular in the Godzilla films, and was actually in the recent Godzilla King of the Monsters film. Rodan has some incredible abilities, such as it can create massive windstorms by flapping its wings. Its speed is so powerful that it can wreck basically everything in its path, as it has done multiple times in Tokyo, and more recently down in Mexico. So, like, yeah, Rodan to me is just such a cool monster. And in fact, the actual appearance of Rodan excited me the most about going to see Godzilla King of the Monsters, because I feel like Rodan needed justice. And quite frankly, may have excited me a little more than King Ghidorah, because I'm a big Rodan guy, but you got to be fair, got to be objective. I'm putting Rodan at number 7.
Darren, I agree with Rodan being on the list. I think Rodan is an excellent kaiju. I love the fact that this latest movie had him coming out basically out of a volcano.
Yes.
That was badass. I don't think you're ever going to get a better introduction to a kaiju than that. And I'll put money on that shit. Let's do it. Money on that shit. Kevin, you're number 7. That rhymed.
My number 7 is the Colossal Titan from Attack on Titan.
Ooh, God, yeah.
It's a very frightening creature, to say the least.
In the movies that they did, like they did a feature-length film, and it just looked so real. It was like
I didn't have a chance to see it, but I heard it was crazy.
Skinless meat sack giants walking around eating people. What a nightmare!
It is. I mean, it's crazy. It's considered one of the strongest Titans out there. I mean, that whole show is messed up. That whole animated anime show, it's very frightening. You got these giant humanoid creatures walking around, and they specifically just want to eat people. Like literally just like how we eat chicken or fish or anything like that. They take pleasure in eating human beings. And this one in particular, of course, is much taller and strong. It can actually penetrate the city walls. And it's pretty frightening. If you actually, this is the thing that nightmares are made out of. So this is a very badass creature, a very difficult monster to defeat. You would need some serious firepower to take it down.
Real quick, Jason Woods just popped in. He says,
all right. What's up, Jason Woods?
Thank you for joining us, Jason. He says, Donald, my daughter, Jazzy, wants your toys. Probably sees them in the back there. I got plenty of them. She's always welcome, when things calm down, of course, to come over, and I'll have plenty of toys that she could play with. I'm sure I can open up some stuff and she could play around. It don't matter to me, so that'd be fine. Sean says, I saw a cosplay of that dude at SDCC. It stuck out 3 feet above the crowd. I think it is in one of my videos. Sean, if you can send us one of the links, we'll be happy to repost that, because that's really cool, and I would love to see it myself. Yeah, these dudes were crazy. I don't understand. Just frightening, Kevin. That's an excellent choice, but a very scary choice nonetheless.
Very scary choice.
Sean, speaking of number 7, Sean in particular, I think you're going to love my number 7 choice here. I chose, from the 7th Voyage of Sinbad, the Cyclops.
Oh!
Now, Sean and I both have an affinity for Ray Harryhausen and his films. I mean, I have a deep love for the man. In fact, I got kicked out of his panel for trying to kiss him. Apparently, you're not allowed to do that, but whatever. I love Harryhausen's special effects. My mom can attest to that. So can my dad. It's been something that I've been in love with ever since Saturday afternoon television was created, and they would play old films from the 60s and 70s like this. And it just blew my mind, the creativity behind these things. And just to be a fly on the wall and to watch him work, I think would have been amazing. But this is, like, look at this thing. It's all claymation right here, right above me here. All claymation, all done. And they what they would do is they would film the film, and they would have the actors react like something's there, right? And then they would play the film in the background, and they would have Harryhausen take his claymation monsters and put them in front of the film, and then film that. And then they would replace that piece of film with that film then, and then they would have his monsters moving and interacting. So it's so cool, because the actors are doing a great job, don't get me wrong, but for Harryhausen to move these monsters in such a way that it's like perfect in sync with these guys and how they're reacting and stuff, there's a lot of precision involved, and there's a lot of craftsmanship involved, and he's a fantastic creator. And these are fantastic movies, and this is a fantastic kaiju. I can't say more about it. The Cyclops from Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, Sean responded. He said, great choice, one of my favorite monsters ever. So much character in that Cyclops, Sean. You're 100% correct. Love it. And that's my number 7. Chris, what's your number 6 all-time top 10 favorite kaiju?
My number 6 comes from probably my favorite monster movie ever, and it comes from Tremors.
Nice.
And the monster is the Graboid. People know, but there are.
Chris, your voice is kind of cutting in and out a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit. Can everybody else hear him?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, go ahead then.
I wonder.
It might just be on my side, sir.
All right. So I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the Graboid has 5 different generations that it lives through. It starts with an egg, and then it becomes a dirt dragon, which are little baby Graboids, which you learn about in Tremors 4. And then it's the Graboid, which is the long worm that we all know that we learn about in Tremors. And then it's the Shrieker. Basically, after eating a large amount of food, the Graboid dies, but its tongue will live on and begins the transformation into Shrieker. Pulls out the side of the Graboid, leaving a dead 50-foot worm with a hole in its belly. And then it becomes, this is the coolest part, an ass blaster.
Yes, an ass blaster. Chris, I'm going to repeat something you say.
Stage in the Graboid evolution, and it's the worst. Basically, the Shriekers have to eat a large amount of food and give birth to at least one Shrieker before entering into the
right. So,
that's the coolest thing.
So a Shrieker can reproduce quite quickly, if I recall. Am I right?
Yeah, eat a bunch of food, eat a bunch of humans.
Yeah.
And
then it just reproduces quite quickly, a Shrieker. Now, that was on the last film, Shrieker Island, if I recall. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but I do want to say that we do have a resident Tremor Graboid professional here in the audience right now in our chats that's worked, assistant edited on 2 of the films, number 5 and number 6, if I recall. And that is Dr. Captain Maria up there in the chat. So if anybody has any questions for her, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer a few, because she did help edit. And I'm telling you guys, assistant editors do so much work. So much work. There's a regular editor that like the main editor, and they're like, oh yes, I did this and that and this, but I just had my assistant editors do that work, and like they basically lay out the foundation of everything.
Yeah, underrated.
Right.
Very underrated.
If you ever have questions about the editing process with those films or something, or how it looked, or even with Michael Gross, like how was he? Maria knows, so feel free to reach out to Dr. Captain Maria on the chat while we're doing this. Sorry for throwing you under the bus, Maria, but if you get a second, if people have questions, I'm sure, hopefully, maybe you'd be happy to answer. But okay, that was your number 7, right, Chris?
6.
6, I'm sorry. Number 6. All right, Darren, you're number 6.
Before I go to number 6, I'd like to point out that how did Michael Gross go from Family Ties to a career in Tremors?
Right.
I'd just like to know these.
I've just got one answer for you, Darren. Reba McEntire.
Hey-o! Here we go, folks. Number 6 on my list, also coming from the Toho universe, is Gigan. Some people refer to them as Gigan. But if you play the original Nintendo Godzilla game, you will know why Gigan is such a beast. Gigan is basically a cyborg transformed into a cyborg, an alien, shaped very similarly to Godzilla, except he has hooks for hands, and in certain renditions, those hooks at the end have missiles that he can fire, and the coolest thing ever, a spiked stomach that can operate like a buzzsaw, so he can actually walk up and actually like cut you up. Gigan is the very first kaiju to make Godzilla bleed. So, you know, I would definitely say if you get the opportunity, and now that Warner Brothers, my beloved Warner Brothers, is currently really getting into this Titan universe with Godzilla especially, Gigan will not be far behind. I mean, this is just way too cool of a monster to omit, and I just can't wait until they put it on the big $200-300 million screen. Yeah.
There's still a lot. In fact, I feel like almost like they blew their load as far as like their money involving these films, and I think it's because they were so worried that they weren't going to get another one that they definitely wanted Kong and Godzilla to happen. And I think it's a twofold thing. There was worry that there wasn't going to be another film because last time that film, Godzilla King of All Monsters, kind of underperformed, and also because they thought, well, what a way to revitalize the franchise is to have him face Kong. You know, two beloved franchises together like that. And it's smart in a way, but it's also like, well, now that they've met, where do you go? You know? How do you build this universe that you're trying to build when the two characters that you were building separately are the only two characters that you were building separately? So they need to build another universe. And that will happen with another character, I feel. And I'll discuss that in a little bit. But that was your number 6, correct, Darren?
Yes.
Okay, Kevin, what's your number 6?
It is the 8th wonder of the world, King Kong.
Nice.
And, you know, everyone knows who King Kong is, but some of his cool abilities is he has radioactive immunity, of course, great physical strength, electricity absorption, durability, possible resistance to the atomic breath of Godzilla, and, of course, surprisingly to a lot of people, great intelligence and empathy. You know, he's a lovable guy, and he's classic. You can't go wrong with King Kong.
With a great PR department.
With a great PR department, yes.
True. So that's your number 6. Sean, you're going to love my number 6 as well, buddy. My number 6 comes from a classic. It comes from one of the greatest films ever made. My character, comes from the film Clash of the Titans, and I'm talking about the Kraken.
Ooh.
Now we're talking about Harry Hamlin, Ray Harryhausen, Burgess Meredith. We're talking about a veritable cornucopia of fantastic stars and actors in this film. I could go on and on. There's a ton. But the real star, besides Medusa, is the Kraken, which is the creature that is borneth of the sea and comes from the sea onto Earth to destroy the land and the people involved. And I love this film so much, and I'm going to take something off the wall, so bear with me.
We are bearing. That must be some wall.
It's glued to the wall in a way. So, but here we go. This is how much I love this film. Right here, the laser disc of Clash of the Titans. And if you look here, that signature, signed by Ray Harryhausen himself.
Wow, nice.
That's in 2007 when I met him, Sean, at Comic-Con in San Diego. One of the greatest moments ever in the history of moments with meeting celebrities out here in California was meeting Ray Harryhausen. And no, Sean, you cannot have that. Sorry. But good ask, though. I appreciate that. Jarrett's here. Hey, Jarrett. Thanks for joining.
What's up, Jarrett?
Jarrett, what several men refer to before taking a crap called the Kraken. Yes, I believe that is a thing, actually. But the Kraken's great. It's often could be an octopus type character, multiple arms, or multiple tentacles. I believe the way Harryhausen did it was fantastic. Almost like an ape-like face, if you notice, with kind of gill ears and very kind of almost like a bird-like beak mouth and stuff. It's very very special, this character that he created. Very unique. So for that alone, and for the fact that, again, it's a Harryhausen character, I love it. You can't go wrong with number 6 on my list, the Kraken.
Also, a major power player, as the head of Medusa, was the only thing that could defeat it. There are not enough men on Earth to defeat the Kraken.
You got it. Number 5 for you, Chris.
Number 5 for me is my favorite villain of any movie ever, and that is the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Nice.
If you look back, it was kind of a new age of technology when it came to computer generated things in movies. I mean, even to this day, it still kind of stands out as like some amazing CG. And it's one of the first times in a movie theater where I actually was a little terrified of what I was seeing on screen, because it did look at the time very believable, and they did a good job of making the atmosphere, not even just the look of it, but like the water shaking in the Jeep and the sounds and just the whole atmosphere itself. And it was one of the, it actually gave me nightmares of a T-Rex breaking into my bedroom and trying to eat me. Just breaking right through my wall and
right.
But they screech me because his arms are too little. So
yeah, that's true. He can't unwrap his Christmas present you got for him, Chris.
Exactly. He's stuck there as my number 1 villain of any movie ever for me, and so he had to be number 5 on my list.
That's a good choice. Very good choice. Very great movie. Darren, you're number 5.
All right, my number 5. Forgive me. Oh yes. So my number 5 is actually, I'm just going on pure kaiju power here. I'm, of course, going with Titanosaurus. Now, Titanosaurus is a very interesting enemy to Godzilla. I'm just going to read a couple of its powers, as I find it to be almost very difficult, if not impossible, to defeat. Can use its tail as a fan, generating strong winds, enough to, of course, demolish buildings and hurl things at tremendous velocity. If it's underwater, it can create whirlpools that are strong enough to immobilize virtually anything. It has stood, of course, toe-to-toe with Godzilla, exchanging blows on a number of occasions and landing kicks and punches that can propel Godzilla what looks like a mile or two just short. I mean, Titanosaurus is a beast, very hard to defeat. Might even be the equivalent of giant monster in Jurassic Park 3, which is escaping me at the moment, the Spinosaurus. This is just a pure dominant power pick, and I'm very, very happy that I remembered to include the Titanosaurus.
That's a very cool choice, Darren. A lot of kaiju purists, a lot of Godzilla fans in general are going to very much appreciate that. Real quick, we have a couple comments. Evan popped in, so everybody say, hey, Evan. Thanks for joining.
What's up, Evan?
Hey.
Jarrett says T-Rex still holds up. Kind of creature reminiscent. Sean says, did you meet Harryhausen at the Harryhausen Bradbury panel at SDCC? Sean, yes, I did. Let's see. Jarrett says, has Dirk Diggler been mentioned on anyone's list yet? No, and I don't think it will, Jarrett, so I'm sorry. You're number 5, Kevin.
It is the Mother of Dragons, Daenerys' favorite dragon, Drogon.
Wow, that's a choice, buddy. That's quite a choice. Now, I know Chris must appreciate this, and Maria. All three of you are diehard Game of Thrones fans.
I'm a little upset that he's taking the bandage off our wounds so soon.
I know. It's been 2 years, but you know what? This is a cool dragon. It's the one that's still alive. It's the one that did some serious damage and brought the pain to King's Landing like no other. If this thing existed, who wouldn't want to have that as a pet or just for a friend? I mean, this guy protects you at all costs. and it's nearly not impossible to kill, but very, very difficult to kill. Very strong skin, very powerful, and of course that dragon fire is pretty much nuclear, as we saw in that last season. There's just nothing stopping it.
It's true. It's true. He's a great character, a very loyal dragon, and the only one, if I recall, that she knew she wasn't sure about. Like, he was very standoffish at first, if I recall, but then became the most powerful and the most loyal out of all of them.
Absolutely.
It's the only one that gets any kind of character development too.
Yeah, you're right. You're very right. I'm going to go with my number 5. I'm going to be very brief on mine because he's been mentioned before. We are talking about Rodan. Again, him coming out of the lava in the Godzilla King of All Monsters was amazing, and probably the best appearance of a kaiju that you'll ever get. I mean, it was just so great and so cool, and I love the character. I love pterodactyls in general. I think they're very cool. I've always wanted to be a paleontologist ever since I was a little kid. I had dinosaurs all up on my wall and stuff, so it was super cool for this character to be reintroduced, and I'm just happy with it. I'm happy with the reintroduction. I love the character, and I'm happy he exists. So Rodan as my number 5. Chris, your number 4?
My number 4 is from a comedy, an Adam Sandler comedy of all things. It's from Pixels, and it's The Giant Pac-Man.
Giant.
Not much reasoning for it. I just, like I said, a lot of my list was monsters that makes me smile, and I love Pac-Man, and I was just thinking about monsters, and I thought about, oh yeah, they made Pac-Man a villain. I forgot about that, and I was like, well, maybe giggle, going on the list. And
Yeah.
I'll pause because I can watch that scene thousands of times.
It is a great scene. I wish the movie would have been better than it was,
Yeah, I agree.
but it's still enjoyable enough because of all the nostalgia and the sentimentality that's involved with it. So that's a really cool choice. We all love and quite could possibly fear Pac-Man had he been hungry for us and existing in our world. It's true. So that's a cool choice, buddy. Might I add, King Kong also exists in that world, aka
Yes.
Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
All right, Darren, what's your number 4?
I'm going to go with Slattern, much higher on my list than Chris's. Very first Category 5 kaiju introduced to humanity. Some of the really cool things. First of all, part of the reason Slattern exists is because Charlie Day just had to drift with a kaiju. Take this as a word of note. Don't go drifting with kaiju. So one of the cool things that he did is we had all these digital Jaegers that were fighting against all these kaiju, and he created an electromagnetic pulse to disable literally all of them. Very powerful, very strong exterior because of the drifting. It knows all of the vulnerabilities of the Jaegers. And of course, one of the biggest failures of Pacific Rim, even though I quite enjoyed it, one of the most irritating things was the 3-person Jaeger that had the special maneuver called the Thundercloud Formation that you never see. Thank you for that one, Del Toro. But of course, as we know, the analog Jaeger ends up being the one to win the day. There's all sorts of drama that's kind of funny. But anyway, yeah, I'm going with Slattern.
It's a good choice. All right, Kevin, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is the triple-headed monster, King Ghidorah.
Oh my God.
Quite an opponent for Godzilla. He brings the pain with gravity beams that he could spit out of his 3 heads. Of course, he has durability, supersonic flight, hurricane winds, energy shield, winged lightning. He has it all. So he's, what do you do when you have basically a triplet attached to a freaking dragon? you're going against.
Yeah.
So he's quite an interesting opponent.
He's a great
for
opponent.
Godzilla.
He's a level 5, and I think Godzilla, if I'm correct, Maria, Godzilla is labeled as a level 4, but King Ghidorah is labeled as a level 5 kaiju. So he's actually, technically, the strongest one there is King Ghidorah. Really? Yeah, if I recall.
Oh,
Maria,
wow.
again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think King Ghidorah, they call him the king for a reason.
For a reason.
Of course, Godzilla dethroned him, you know. Long live the king. You know, the king is dead.
Until the credits, of course.
Right, until the credits. Now, there's a theory, and I don't know if I'm correct or if I read this or if I just made this up in a fever dream, but they said in that they're taking the head of King Ghidorah, like we saw in the last film, and they're creating Mechagodzilla based upon that head. So that could be the framework that creates Mechagodzilla, which would be the ultimate villain in the new film. I could be wrong. I thought I read that somewhere, but that would be a really interesting idea to keep King Ghidorah in the game, so to speak, as a villain, and also create a new villain, and create a villain more powerful, or just as powerful as the other two characters that we've got coming. So,
well, King Ghidorah, of course, has regenerative abilities, so that head technically could create a new King Ghidorah.
It's true. And Sean, as he so eloquently puts it, a god is greater than a king. So, he's got it there.
It's true.
Maria says she thinks he's also level 4. Maria, what was level 5? There was a level 5, and I don't remember. We talked about this just, I think, last night or the night before. While she thinks about that, I'm going to go with my number 4. This was much lower on your list. It's higher on my list, I believe, Kevin. And I'm going to go with my boy, Gamera. Now, I love Gamera, obviously. Gamera is awesome. Gamera is a Ninja Turtle without the ninja. Gamera is the original badass. Gamera will spin when he flies with his dual jet things on all around him. So he's, and then he just launches himself into people and knocks them over. Super strength, super strong bite. Just a tough dude. Whip crack tail, hard shell, hard to beat. Gamera, I think, is, in my personal opinion, better than Godzilla. And I know that's sacrilege, Maria, I'm sorry, but Gamera, but you already know this. Gamera is everything I wanted in a kaiju and more. I love turtles. Chris, I know you're with me on this. So what's better than a Ninja Turtle is a giant turtle that can spin around in the air, fly, and can beat on Godzilla, hold its own with Godzilla. That you cannot deny. That is a great, great hero. Unlike Godzilla, he's not just there to cause some destruction. He's there to save. And Gamera, the kids love him. I don't know if you guys remember in the movies, they'd be like, Gamera, the kids and stuff. So he's a fan favorite. Gamera, love him. That's my number 4. Chris, you're number 3.
All right, we're going back to space. We're going to a galaxy far, far away. And giant monster bested by one man only. And that monster is the Sarlacc pit.
So your background?
Yeah.
Yes, my background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the thing that Marshal Timothy Oliphant blew up in The Mandalorian.
Chris, I'm so sorry. I thought in the background, I thought that was your girlfriend sitting back there.
Why?
Oh.
I wish. Wait, there's a tongue on that thing.
All right, so the Sarlacc. Bested Boba Fett, but then Boba Fett somehow defied all odds.
Yeah.
Go figure.
That slow digestion process.
Yeah, very cool creature, and that was in. That was in Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and personally, I hate the CGI things that were added to the Sarlacc pit. I just like the original Sarlacc pit personally.
I agree.
So.
Sean says, "Dang, I thought Chris was going to say space slug." Sean, we could bring up space herpes from Ice Pirates, but I don't think most people know that.
Ice Pirates, I love that movie.
Me too. And we'll talk about that another time. Chris, we could do a podcast on Ice Pirates, and I'd be down for that. All right, so Darren, you're number 3.
If I may just speak to the audience real quick, since this is a time that we're coming up to Easter. Folks, those of you who would like to apologize and give penance and admit that you were wrong about the Snyder Cut, you're welcome to comment below. I'm wondering what you would have to say. Okay, here we go, folks. Number 3, I'm going on pure recognition here, Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla, of course, can fire a missile out of virtually every orifice of its body. More recently, in later incarnations, you can't decapitate it, which was the original way to take it down. So now you can't do that. The steel is a special kind of titanium. It is a space titanium. This is like an indestructible creature that is controlled, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, by aliens. So Mechagodzilla, pure classic, great villain, and I'm sure you'll see it in the future soon.
I'm sorry I don't have a picture of it for some reason. I don't know why, but I've got a really cool picture of Godzilla that I just posted, so that's close enough.
Just color him in silver, and you've got the picture.
There you go. Okay. Darren, you're number 3.
Already gave it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kevin, you're number 3.
We've seen this before, but I have the king of the monsters, Godzilla.
Nope, I don't know why I took that picture down. I'm going to put it back up. There we go. Boom.
So real quick, everyone knows Godzilla. Some of its abilities, its injury resistance, has a great healing factor, nuclear pulse, magnetic aura, atomic breath, nuclear beam. It's actually, of course, it's very intelligent, and it's Godzilla. He's hard to beat. He brings it every time. All hail Gojira.
All right, Godzilla. Now, I've got a very interesting number 3. One that you might find involved in campfires with, Hershey bars and graham crackers, with possible Ghostbusters. I'm talking about, that's right, it's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Oh, wow.
Now, personal favorite of mine. The original Ghostbusters is an amazing film. It's going to go down as one of the all-time classics. There's not much that beats the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Ray, Egon, Peter Venkman, they can't hold a torch to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. The ultimate villain in the film, the guy that gums up the works, that ruins Walter Peck. He's so cool, so dapper. Look at that outfit, guys. I mean, he is a sailor. He is ready to sail them 7 seas in style. He could take on the best of them with a smile. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
But can he beat the Michelin Man?
Number 3. Absolutely, of course. Sean says Ghostbusters is a miracle movie. Jarrett says Mecha S'mores. Yes. Louis. Hey, Louis. Thanks for joining us. He says Titanosaurus is such an underrated monster. Hope we see him again against Godzilla. Yes, that would be great.
Hey, there's a fan.
There we go. All right. Chris, you're number 2 on the list.
Number 2 comes from my favorite musical. Comes from Deep Space. And that is Giant Audrey 2.
What?
From director's cut of Little Shop of Horrors.
But no,
that's the director's cut because in the original theatrical version of the movie, it ended in a happy ending with Audrey, or with Seymour and Audrey killing the plant. But in the director's cut, Seymour and Audrey get eaten, and then the plant takes over, and then the plants take over the entire world. And it ends with 2 giant Audrey 2 plants on top of the Statue of Liberty, and then they're laughing, they're hysterical, Audrey 2 laugh, and then it says the end, with a question mark, and it's amazing, and it's cheesy and amazing, and I love it. It's a favorite musical, and I showed it to my students, and they hated it, so it made me love it more. And And it's the musical I really want to direct, and I want to make it like 50,000 feet tall when I do it. So it had to be number 2 on my list.
Okay, so I've got two things. Chris, I had never seen this ending until I went to what is that movie theater? It's a movie theater over near Las Feliz.
Oh, the Los Feliz 3?
No. It's,
Oh, I know which one. The old one from the 20s.
yeah.
Oh, God. The Vista.
The Vista. Thank you. Yeah, the Vista. And I had never seen it, and they had a midnight showing of it, and they were like, we're either going to... We don't know what print we got. It's going to be the original ending, or it's going to be the one that they brought out in theaters. And it was this one. It was the one that... By the way, Kermit the Frog directed. It's this version.
Frank Oz was director, yep.
This amazing version was so cool that I'd never seen it before. It's all these giant Audreys just destroying New York and basically taking over the world. And I
it's amazing.
Loved every minute of it. Loved every minute of it. It's so well done. They spent, I believe, like $5 million?
I believe that's correct. It was more than the rest of the movie cost.
Yeah. The ending of this at the time, and this was like in 86, 87, somewhere around there. They spent millions of dollars on this, and it never saw the light of day, basically, because people hated it. Like, test audiences hated it, so they took it away, and they went with a different ending, a very cheap ending, mind you, but a different ending. The other thing is, Darren, I've been recently watching Head of the Class. It's a show that came out from 86 to 91 with Harry Houseman, I believe.
Howard Hessman.
Howard Hessman, that's it, Jesus. And Billy Connolly was in the last season as the lead in that. And in season, I think, 3, they do a 2-part episode of the production of Little Shop of the Horrors.
Wow.
And you don't see that in other shows, that they take 2 episodes of a television show to show you a theatrical production of something. It's available on HBO Max, so I highly recommend you check out those 2 episodes if you have yet to do so. All right, Darren, speaking of Darren, let's go with your next one there, sir.
It's my number 2 is King Ghidorah. Kevin, I'm very grateful that you explained all his powers and abilities, so I don't have to do that. The one I think you may have left out that I think is of note is the fact that it can survive on oxygen deprivation, because it is an alien creature. This idea was brilliantly used in Godzilla King of the Monsters, where it zapped all of the oxygen in the area and didn't kill it. So yeah, King Ghidorah, I mean, not personally like one of my favorites, but no question in the power rankings of kaiju villains, there's just nobody at the level of King Ghidorah. It's actually one of those really brilliantly constructed monsters in the Godzilla world.
Okay.
Hello.
All right, Kevin, your next choice.
All right, my number 2 is a immortal godlike entity from H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu.
Cthulhu?
Oh, yes. Now, this is also a very creepy and very frightening creature you don't want to encounter. I mean, it's said that if a human just looks at it, it can be driven mad. And it's just a powerful, very ugly, but just crazy-looking creature that you don't want to mess with.
You know, I just got a text from someone doing this that wants to know why we haven't included the Minotaur.
That's a good question.
It's a good question. Very
Do we
good
have
question.
an answer?
No. I just
Okay.
there's
probably a
too many.
mythology thing.
Too many monsters, guys. Too many monsters in this.
So little time.
It's very hard to have enough time to list every single thing. I mean, we usually like to try to run this for an hour and a half, and we're right at 9 right now, just a little after, and we still have, one more round to go. So we're doing pretty good, but, it takes some time. So we're working on that. Let me bring up my number 2 here. Give me one moment. Chris, I'm working on that for you. It's just going to take me a moment to be able to get that to work, because everything runs a little slow. My number 2 on the list is very near and dear to my heart. And again, Sean, I hope you love this one. because it's one that I love so much, and I'll explain it here in a moment as soon as I can bring it up, if I can find the photo of it. I don't know if I have it.
You should have it.
Total bummer if I don't have it. I don't think I do, Kevin. Huh, I thought you sent it to me, too.
Yeah, it should be there.
Shoot. Okay. Bear with me. Let's talk real quick about the Balrog from Lord of the Rings while I look this up. So give me a moment.
Oh, interesting. Actually, sorry to kibosh on the Balrog there, but the Minotaur from Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. Does anyone know what this character is?
The Minotaur?
No, that's a negative. We have been fooled on our Kaiju podcast. There are lots of Kaiju all over the world, just so we're all clear here. But yeah, I don't. Probably because we're not familiar with the Minotaur. That would probably be why it is not on any of our lists. But then again, neither is... Oh, wait, somebody did put that on their list. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you should have it, Donald. I sent it to you.
Yeah, for some reason it didn't download, and I don't know why. It's happened a couple times.
So on another note, Donald, Balrog in Street Fighter totally sucks. Like, I mean, he's not a good fighter in that game.
Yeah. I could agree with that.
He's a boxer in Street Fighter. This is not how this works, folks.
And he looks like Mike Tyson, too, by the way.
Yeah, but he totally sucks. I mean, he's right up there with, like, Zangief.
Yeah.
Like, it's
pretty
very
weak
with Zangief.
All right, so to create more of a time relevance here for us, I'm going to move forward with my choice regardless of whether or not I have a picture. And it's just because of time, and I'm sorry, Sean and everybody out there listening, that I don't have a photo for this because it's so specific and it's very hard to describe. But in Jason and the Argonauts, which is another film that Ray Harryhausen did the special effects for, there was a creature in there. And this creature was a giant Roman soldier. It was a statue. And Hercules and Perseus, or not Perseus, it was Pericles or Perculate or whatever the hell whatever his name is. Yeah, Kevin, thank you. That's the character right there, right behind Kevin. That giant Roman soldier back there behind Kevin was the perfect way to get me into monsters when I was a kid, because I remember watching this around 2 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon, and they went into this giant like building. It wasn't giant, but it was like a big building that they went into that had this huge Roman statue just kind of leaning down like this with its sword in its hand. And they were like, oh, cool, let's see if we can get in there. And you know, they pried the door open, and it was filled with treasure. And they were told, Hercules and this other dude, they were told that whatever they do, don't touch anything on the island. Don't grab anything. Don't take anything. So, of course, what do? They take a spear. They take a couple, like some coins or whatever. They take some shit out of there, and then they walk out of the building. And as soon as they walk out of that building, this giant statue comes to life, moves its head, and then gets down off the building, and then they have to battle it. And some people, I won't spoil it, but some people don't make it out of that fight. And it is a wonderful scene. It is a wonderful battle. It's an introduction to these types of kaiju-esque type characters that we don't normally see in today's films, that we got to see in a lot of Harryhausen films. So those that have not seen Jason and the Argonauts, it's a wonderful film, and this is a wonderful villain, that giant Roman soldier. Highly recommend it.
I think he's Greek, but who cares at this point?
Yeah, that's true. Could be Greek. Let's see. Sean has some comments. He says Ghostbusters is a miracle movie. Would have been a nice lead-in to Godzilla vs. Audrey 2. Head of the Class is a great theme. I cut my reel to it once. Oh, nice. Godzilla vs. Cthulhu, please. That would be cool. Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger is Harryhausen. Yes, that's also Harryhausen. There's 3 Sinbad films, Sean. You know that, of course. Of course you know that. It's the metal guy, I think. Yep, you're right. Major Bison was actually Balrog's name based off of M. Tyson, Mike Tyson. Oh. He was great. The sounds he makes, yes, the Roman soldier or the Greek soldier, Sean, he says he was great. The sounds he makes when he moves and the look of his metal skin. He was super scary to him as a kid, too. So, Sean, I'm so glad you agree with me on this one. But let's move on to number one on everybody's list. Chris, what is your number one? And actually, let me see if I have a picture of it first. I think I do. Yeah, you're number one right here on the screen.
Yeah, my number one is from Ghostbusters. Big little white guy. Loved him so much that I cosplayed as him for Halloween and made a good old little jolly old Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I love him. Probably my favorite part of the whole movie. You know, I was a kid when I saw the movie, and I was like, yes, a man that looks like me in TV. And I've loved him ever since, and I'll put the movie in like once a month just to watch this part with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Favorite part of the whole movie. Love the movie. It's probably the movie's just great anyway, but the reason I love it so much is because of him. And yeah, he's one of my favorite characters in any movie ever. So yeah, number one.
And he goes good with chocolate and graham crackers for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. To have been there when they both were taking him apart.
All right, Darren, what's your number one?
No doubt it's going to be Godzilla, King of the Monsters. So Godzilla, what's very interesting to me is when I have conversations with, as I would like to call, very smug elitist film goers. So in case none of you know, I'm actually a smug elitist film goer, but who likes to have a lot of fun when I'm watching a movie, and there are standards. So what happens here is, if you're going to, be going up for an Oscar, I will hold you to that standard. If you're going to be there to have fun, I will also hold you to that standard. You got to be able to succeed at these things. So what I often like to tell people, if they ever ask, don't you watch any foreign films? And I said, yes, Godzilla movies. They are foreign films. I'm just saying. That being said, in the words of wrestler Lance Storm, if I could be serious for a minute here, Godzilla 1955 is actually an incredible film, especially considering the time that it came out. It's not only, like this monster film, but it's a very thought-provoking movie about nuclear weapons. It's pretty well acted, to be perfectly honest with you, and so many people like to get so obsessed with like rubber suit kaiju and Godzilla, and that's a guy standing on top of miniatures and stuff. And yeah, look, some of these films are absolutely ridiculous. They do give you a very accurate view, though, of what Japan looked like in the 1970s, to be honest with you, and kind of that whole 70s vibe with the shag carpets, the weird colors, things like that. But the original Godzilla movie arguably could be the best kaiju movie. For me, it's like somewhere in between like that and 2005's King Kong. Godzilla is unquestionably amazing. It's one of those characters that you just keep thinking, like, are his powers sufficient against this tremendous villains gallery? We always like to talk about here on the Real Short Box how Spider-Man and Batman own their perspective comic book companies' best villains. Godzilla, to me, holds the best villains in the kaiju world, which is probably why I think he is the ultimate kaiju. That's
a good choice. That's a respectable number one. No one's going to be able to argue with that. Little Greek Coffee House says, gotta love that 70s Japanese look. Yes, you do.
You do. You totally do.
Yeah. Yep. Maria says, where are you finding graham crackers and candy bars that big? Maria, I told you, Big Lots.
Big Lots?
Yep.
Love Big Lots.
And then Alexi says, Kevin has the ultimate backdrop. Alexi, that was my number 2 choice on my top 10 kaiju, the Greek soldier there from Jason and the Argonauts. Love that
Roman,
film.
Actually.
Love
Roman,
that.
actually, sir.
Oh my God, who cares? Greek, Rome, whatever. Darren correct me with Greek. You correct me with Rome. It's a goddamn soldier on top of a freaking building. All right, so you're number 1 now, Kevin.
All right, this is definitely going against the grain and might be considered controversial because technically it's not a kaiju in a sense, but it's actually the ultimate kaiju killer, monster killer. And that is one of my favorite cartoons from back in the 80s, Voltron.
Whoa!
Legendary defender of the universe. This thing is made especially to kill any and all monsters.
Kevin, why would you do such a thing?
It can't be denied. Voltron has taken on all kinds of space monsters. Of course, we knew him as Beast. Once he gets out that blazing sword, it's a wrap. It's over. There's nothing that can stop Voltron. He's extremely powerful. He's almost like basically a combination of science and magic. He's like basically a cosmic entity in of itself, controlled by 5 humans. But this is just an awesome robot that takes care of business.
He's basically a Power Ranger.
Oh, but he's better than a Power Ranger. You know that. He's more powerful than a Power Ranger.
I agree.
Power Rangers cannot, especially even the vehicle Voltron is very powerful. You know, the other one doesn't get as much love and credit.
Right.
But
both totally
Voltrons take care of business.
Voltron's great. Voltron's a great character. And making a comeback in popularity, to be honest. There's a lot of fever pitch around the figures themselves from the 80s. And I think the late 70s, early 80s, of the metal figures from Japan, putting those together and creating Voltron.
Yeah, the die-cast metal.
Mm-hmm.
And the Netflix cartoon was pretty amazing.
Yeah, the one from Netflix, DreamWorks produced, right?
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I like that too. I've got a number 1. I don't need a picture. I'll put it up anyway, but I don't really need a picture. My number 1 is also, like you had Drogon, right? The dragon from Game of Thrones.
Right.
Well, I have a dragon as well. But my dragon is a little different. My dragon is Maleficent.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I'm going with Maleficent.
Whoa.
Right here, guys. Maleficent as a dragon. Chris, I know you have the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man as a pop. And that's your number 1. I have Maleficent as a dragon as my number 1, and it's also a pop. So that's really cool. There you go. There we go. He's got it. He's got it. Bring it over. Yes, he's getting burnt too. That's so cool. Look, it almost looks like, looks like the dragon, put him close to the screen. It'll look like he's burning him.
Well, no offense, fellas, but Voltron would carve both those creatures in half.
Oh my god. Yeah, Prince Eric defeated Maleficent with just a sword and a horse. So sure, I know, Voltron would definitely take care of Maleficent. But the fact remains that Maleficent is from the greatest animated Disney film of all time, Sleeping Beauty. There is no better. Sleeping Beauty is the ultimate animated Disney film. Fight me. I don't care. Great film. Great villain. Great story. Great artwork, actually. Wonderful, wonderful artwork. And a wonderful way to kind of cap off the evening to bring animation, old school animation with Disney, in line with Kaiju films from Japan, and just excellent villains overall, and just showing that we love giant monsters, animated, real life, so to speak, on film, you know, however we enjoy them. Claymation. Kaiju is something that you keep here in your heart. It's something that brings a joy to every child. A giant monster, so to speak, is something that we always dream of, whether it be fanciful or horrific, you know, aka nightmares. But it is something that we always love to see and always love to be involved with children, adults, obviously. And I thank everybody in the audience tonight for listening to us and for tuning in to The Real Short Box. We really appreciate it. We definitely could not do this without your support, so thank you for tuning in. And tell your friends. Tell your friends that we put on an okay show. You can tell them it's amazing. We know it's okay, but you can tell them it's amazing. That would be better. Really sell it to them. Tell them that we're like the best show on the air ever on a Monday night at 7:30 p.m., which could be true, because what else do you have? I think Wheel of Fortune's done. It's not on the air. Yeah. You've got like news. Kevin, shut your whore mouth. We've got news. We've got other programs, you know, that's news-like, so we don't have anything that's that good.
Oh, yeah, it has to be on.
Yeah. So, guys in the chat, real quick before you all take off, we want to do a few things. We want to talk about a giveaway we've got coming up, but we also want to ask you, what is your favorite, your number 1 kaiju film. What's your number one kaiju film of all time? Sean already answered. He said my number one is Kong riding Godzilla. Yes, that would be an interesting one to be sure. My mom says, enjoyed the podcast, son. Good night, gentlemen. Happy Easter. Thank you, Mom. Happy Easter.
Thank you.
Sean says Gorbash is greater than Maleficent. Schmergle maybe. I don't know about Gorbash necessarily, Sean. Did we watch Spectreman? Anybody see Spectreman? Spectreman?
I'm no that one. Sorry.
Okay. No, I don't know. Alexi says, once you go Greek, the rest seem weak. Nice.
Oh, that's the Alexi phrase right
there. Is a Greek soldier. Purpose and Chai says, hi, haha. Thanks for joining us, Purpose and Chai.
Natasha.
Louis says, have you ever seen the War of the Gargantuas? Two giant, hairy, humanoid Frankenstein monsters do battle. No, I haven't. But that sounds cool.
I think we need to.
Yeah. And now let's get to the giveaway. Now, the giveaway is going to happen. It's not going to be next week, but it's going to be the week after. Now, you're going to want to tune in for both. Reason why is because next week we are doing our audience participation voting category, which is always a fan favorite. You will be voting for the number one on-screen villain of all time. And we're talking television, film, animation, whatever you want. The number one, the best on-screen villain of all time. And we're going to be doing a bracket. So it's going to be like the same thing that we normally do. It's going to be 16 different villains that we have handcrafted, that we've cultivated. Now, you can get on our Facebook page. We're going to post about it. You can get on our social media. You can reach out to us via Facebook, text, whatever, and say, hey, this is my number one choice for this. Let us know what you want in this bracket, and we'll try to get those characters in there. Number one villain. That's next week. Now, once we choose a number one villain, the following week, we're going to work on our number one hero on screen of all time. And at the end of that hero round, that second week, we're going to pit that villain against the hero for an ultimate battle of good versus evil. Only one can walk away from this, and you guys will be deciding on that. You'll be voting on that. It's very important that you tune in for that. Also,
you might determine evil.
Yeah.
Win.
Also, we're going to be doing a giveaway on that week of the hero, that second week, not next week, but the week after. And it's going to be something really cool, actually. We have partnered up with a company called Half's, and they produce a hot sauce. And it's right here. I have a bottle. I've tried it. It is excellent. Right now, I'm trying a Sugar Rush Peach hot sauce from Half's Hot Sauce. If you look at the label, it's really super cool. Skull of peppers. It's tremendous. It tastes good on cream cheese, guys. It tastes good on crackers. It's good on tacos. I had a breakfast burrito earlier with this on it, and it was amazing, I tell you. And I don't say that just because they're sponsoring us. I say that because Brian's a friend of our podcast. He's a good guy. But also, he makes the damn best hot sauce I've ever had. And I'm not even joking. So, try it if you can. Half's Hot Sauce. And we'll be doing a giveaway on this. And we will send you 2 bottles. We'll send you 2 bottles as the giveaway for the prize. And I'll even let you pick the bottles that you want. And we'll send them to you. So, right to your door. Courtesy of Half's Hot Sauce. So, tune in next week and the week after. And we'll be giving away some great hot sauce and some amazing audience participation votes. And again, thank you for joining us. If Sean says if you like Kaiju, check out Spectreman. It's an old Japanese show. Okay, thanks, Sean. We'll check it out.
Heard of it.
Movie villain. Yeah, Sean. Movie villain, TV villain, any type of villain, basically. It could be, Maleficent versus Hans Gruber. You know what I'm saying? Like, any villain, basically, that's been on the silver screen or just the boob tube, you know. Thank you, Purpose and Chai. Thank you for joining us. Again, we are the Real Short Box Live. We are here on Rumble Spoon Productions YouTube live channel once a week, usually every Mondays, unless we take a break. We have a audio podcast, and what platforms are those available on, gentlemen?
Spotify,
Blueberry, iHeartRadio,
Sprecher.
Yeah, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and a whole host of others. We're available. If you can't find us on one of those podcast platforms, please seek us out. Let us know, and we will get on one of those platforms for you. Again, thank you for joining us, Chris. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you having on. It's always a pleasure. And your Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costume was spot on. Just as good, if not better, than your level 2 Kaiju, which I would say is Kool-Aid Man. Oh, yeah. But anyway, thank you for tuning in, everybody. You have a wonderful evening. We're the Real Short Box. We appreciate you. Subscribe to us on YouTube on the Rumble Spoon page. Tell your friends, tell your brothers, tell your sisters, your cousins, your nephews.
Spread the word.
Spread the word. Let everybody know. We're happy to have them on. We're happy to read their comments and stuff. We love engagement with our guests and people on the chats. So we appreciate you. Have a good night, everybody. And we'll see you
at the sweet, effervescent, righteous, lovely, and always homely comic book shop.
Boy!